Today we have closed the transaction where we acquire Future Holdings, the Swiss Bitcoin treasury company. And Sander, why is this an important milestone for H100?
For H100, this means that we are now entering Switzerland, and Future Holdings has an incredible board with Richard and Mark, which we have now proposed to joining our board. And we have also included one of their advisors, Donald, that will also be proposed to the board. So we believe that this puts us into a very, very interesting market, maybe one of the most interesting credit markets in Europe. And also it expands the knowledge in the team for more focus on what we believe is the future for Bitcoin treasury companies.
Yeah, and let's discuss these two items more in detail. So first, Switzerland. We obviously see Switzerland as a very interesting market. We are both based in Switzerland, Lugano, today. We don't have a physical presence there from a company perspective, but today we have. And why do we think that is important going forward?
I think we see Bitcoin as a commodity, but it's a monetary commodity. And the Nordic has a rich history of commodities. And Switzerland has a very rich history of banking and especially private banking. And I think in the middle of those two industries, I believe is the future of Bitcoin treasury companies. That's also why I moved to Switzerland in the first place, building out FinPeers, building a family office network, investing into Bitcoin investments. So this is actually what we are building on top of, that we use this great infrastructure in Switzerland with institutional investors, with family offices. Switzerland is the #1 country in the world with the most foreign wealth. So this is the #1 place in the world for foreign investor to save and store their money. I'm of that belief that this is one of the best infrastructure you can have for a Bitcoin treasury company. So yeah, I'm quite excited.
And I also would like to add that trust is maybe one of the most important things when you think about Switzerland or an investor are considering putting their money into Switzerland, is that they have built the banking system around trust and privacy and a lot of the same, I would say, thoughts and ideology which you see in Bitcoin. And I think that's a very good combination. One of the things we have seen when you put Bitcoin into a regulated market as a Bitcoin treasury company is you put Bitcoin into a very trusted and known structure. And I think that's also why we think Switzerland is important, because you combined Bitcoin with maybe the most trusted banking system in the world.
We now have a one-stop shop when it comes to the vehicle, but also a clear path if we want to list on the Swiss stock exchange, which is, in my opinion, a very, very interesting market. It's top 10 in the world in terms of liquidity. And we also have a very yield star market for any potential private credit product. Makes this a very, very interesting move from H100's perspective. And to be clear, what we are buying, and because Future Holding wasn't able to list, we are a strong believer that we have the necessary infrastructure and history to list. So here we are coming into a very, very interesting package for us. Yeah, I think this is very, very exciting, and I think the Swiss market will be very important for H100 going forward.
Yeah, so that was maybe the first rationale behind the deal, the Swiss presence.
Yeah.
And then we can move over to the other one, which is at least of the same importance as the Swiss presence, and that's the team and the competence we bring on board.
Yeah.
With this deal, we bring on board Richard Byworth, Mark Süss, and Donald Ever as advisors to the company, to H100, so they will actively be involved going forward, which I think is a really great asset for us. And also we have today proposed that these 3 people will join H100 board, which of course is subject to the shareholders' approval. Could you elaborate a bit on what the 3 of them bring to the table?
Yeah, I think their CV tells us a lot, but Richard raised a 5,000 Bitcoin fund last year, which I believe was one of the biggest, at least in Europe. Mark is from a many generation Swiss banking family, Swiss bank, and I believe his network and his banking knowledge will be of huge benefits for us. And Donald is a credit guy. Donald has worked for incredible institutions in all over the world, focusing on credit. So we now have banking knowledge combined with credit knowledge, which I believe the combination of the history of commodities in the Nordics with the banking of Switzerland, I think in the middle we will find the path for H100 going forward.
Yeah, and of course the network they bring, which is highly valuable asset for us.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's important to say that both Richard, Mark, and Donald have 20, 30 years experience in traditional finance, but they are also Bitcoiners. They have worked and believed in Bitcoin for many, many years. So I think it's quite unique to find so good competence from a traditional perspective combined with the belief, and they are truly Bitcoiners.
We have discussed it many times. Okay, how do we expand the financial knowledge in the company? Because one, either they have a very good job and quite hard to hire. I would say all of those three are also very hard to hire. So it makes a lot of sense to do it through a deal like this. But this is, in our opinion, one of the few things where you see M&A makes a lot of sense. It's if you need that skill set the other company has. And I think our execution power combined with their knowledge would be a great combination.
Totally agree. So I think to summarize, this deal gives us a Swiss presence and also brings on board highly, highly qualified competence and people that will bring a lot to H100, and that we will work closely with them day to day to develop and take H100 to the next level. So we will, over the next coming weeks, share more information on the team and what's going on, and we are really looking forward to share some more exciting news. So thank you for watching today's episode.